Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays. Today I'm going to basically summarize this summer's Western star. I'm starting something in my house, watching movies as I do, of course. Each summer now, since last year and probably a year before that, I take either a star or maybe a certain run of films in the Western category, and I just make a summer of them, and I'll watch either one or two of their movies each night as I go to bed. The house is quiet, and go off to the West. Last year, or the year before last, I did just like some of the best Westerns and ever made, and came across some really good ones, discovered some ones that I haven't seen. And last year, I really enjoyed last year. I did Randolph Scott, which I was familiar with maybe 6 or 7 of his movies. And slowly I got into him, like I was finding more of his movies, and then I hunted down some more, and before the end of the summer I had pretty much all his movies, and I was wanting more. I was like, oh man, these are so good, I want some more of it. Sadly, he didn't make a whole lot of movies. He only had so many movies, and I was really focused in on the mid 40s all the way to retirement in 1962. So he basically for a while there only did one movie a year as he slowed down. But as he slowed down, he made some of his very best movies. So I had a ball with that. This year, 2020, it's been kind of a crappy year, but I didn't let that stop me. This year, for my summer Western movie Western-a-thon, I picked Joel McCrea, because in Randolph Scott's last movie, Joel McCrea co-starred with him on Ride the High Country. And Ride the High Country is back again this year. It's a great movie. I think it's showed up in my Western-a-thon every year since I started this. The previous year, because it's one of the best Westerns. And this year I got into Joel McCrea. Now, Joel McCrea is known as the gentleman cowboy. He played the good guy. He was always pretty much the good guy. I think there were some times where he was either on the edge of kind of a bad guy, not so great guy, but he redeems himself. So he was always good. I'm not saying he's a saint and these are just like goody two-shoe movies. They're far from that. I mean, there's some movies where he plays kind of, I wouldn't say he's the bad guy, but generally he plays the good guy. He's been known as the gentleman cowboy, and went through some of his movies. I had a couple handfuls when I started, so got into some new movies this year and tracked down some new ones, and had a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun getting into them and stuff. Now, I have to say, I can't say his movies are better than Randolph Scott's. I mean, it's kind of like, if I had to pick one or the two, I'd pick Randolph Scott. There's some movies that will stand, or maybe even superior to some of Randolph Scott's movies that Joel McCrea made. But he's down here, and stuff. I really can't play favorites. I really can't say. I mean, I can't say John Wayne is my favorite Western star, because really he's not. There's so many other people that were so good that got underrated. And I think Joel McCrea, in this day and age, 2020, he's kind of underrated. People might not know who he is. They might know him from his movies he made with Preston Sturges, which were modern day comedies at the time. Palm Beach Story, Palm Beach Story, and a movie made with Veronica Lake. How did I forget this? Well, anyways, I'll put it in there. I can't make an episode without forgetting something. So anyways, I'm going to show off all his movies he made. I think I've left out a few ones either I couldn't track down, wasn't on video, or I couldn't track it down, or it just wasn't rated highly, or I just didn't think it sounded that good. You know, I kind of picked the ones that I really wanted to watch and stuff. The difference was with Randolph Scott was I got all his movies because he did a certain kind of movie, and it was, you know, and you knew what to expect and what not to expect. But anyways, let's get into something. One of the first movies that I watched during this thing, and one of his really good movies, co-starring Dorothy Malone, is South of St. Louis. This is the Olive Films Blu-ray edition. Has Dorothy Malone, Alexis Smith, which she's been in a lot of Western movies, a lot with Errol Flynn, and Zachary Scott. Basically, it's a story of three brothers who try to stick together. They try to stick together, and as they get a little more wealthier, because they kind of go into different businesses and they start running cattle and everything, they kind of go their own way, and by the end, you know, Joel McCrea's kind of pulling one of his brothers back, you know, because he kind of went too far to the dark side. So, but it's a really good movie. Basically, a movie kind of dealing with after the Civil War. It's like, you know, the war is over, they're going back home. What do they have left for them? It's kind of like with all wars, you know, after World War II, Vietnam, a soldier comes home to maybe a not so happy public, family, girlfriend left them, you know, something. But you know, the same could be said in the Civil War, of course. And so South of St. Louis is a really good action picture. I was really impressed with, had dueling female leads with Alexis Smith and Dorothy Malone. Generally, they would be one of them, and they would either be the love interest or something. But it was pretty cool how they kind of had the two girls, like one was a good girl and one was a bad girl kind of thing, you know. So it was kind of interesting how they did that. Really liked that movie, and that Olive Films print is really good. It's a good disc to get. Next up I got one from the archive, Warner Archives, is the Outriders. This is from 1957. It's a CinemaScope picture directed by Roy Rowland. This time, Joel McCrea's teamed up with Arlene Dahl, Barry Sullivan, and James Whitmore, amongst others. And basically, Joel McCrea is escorting a wagon train party from St. Louis to the west. And along the way, they encounter Indian attacks and some Confederate soldier interaction going on. Pretty interesting movie. It even has Raymond Navarro in it, from a classic star. Even at that time, he was a classic star. So pretty good movie. Every time I see this cover, I always think that this is gosh, who do I think it is? I'll think about it. But anyways, every time I see that poster, I think of somebody else. Now, next up, I got a 4 movies Western Classics pack, DVD pack. I have some DVD packs like this, which are really good economy packs when you're tracking down movies and maybe they're not available widely by themselves. You can get one of these 4-pack economy sets and you get them. And pretty good prints. If you're really wanting to see the movie and you're not trying to be a real collector, you're wanting this one perfect print of a movie, or if you just want to see the movie, these sets are really good, and the quality is pretty good actually. I was impressed. But the movie on here that I got this for was for Joel McCrea's Gunsight Ridge. Now that's up here, down here in the bottom corner. It's from 1957. Stars Mark Stevens and Joan Weldon with him. Joel McCrea plays a mysterious stranger. Comes to the aid of the local sheriff and basically he's brought in to basically get a hold of the town and this gunfighters and stuff. Pretty good movie. I was really impressed with it. Pretty good. The other movies on here are pretty good too. George Montgomery, Roy Calhoun has some features on there, so it's worth to get. Okay, another one now from Warner Brothers Archive Collection DVD. This one, The First Texan. Basically, Joel McCrea is playing Sam Houston, who famously, Houston, Texas is named after Sam Houston, who fought at the Alamo and fought the Mexicans for the land and tried to become their own country or their own, not to get into Texas history and politics, but I'll just leave it at that. But anyways, it's based on Sam Houston, and it shows him interacting with Santa Anna and all the different people involved during the whole battle of the Alamo and all that, which is it's basically a basic historical drama at that. It wasn't so much a typical Joel McCrea movie, which I was kind of like. He plays it really low key also though, but it's worth it to see Joel McCrea. It's a good movie, for that, but it's not one of his very best movies. Next up, Joel McCrea and Yvonne DiCarlo, better known as Herman Munster's wife. What was her name? I can't think of her name either. But The San Francisco Story. This is a movie that came out, I want to say, gosh, when did this come out? 1952, 54? Anyways, it's directed by Robert Parrish, and I believe this was a Warner Brothers release. I got this edition here. It's kind of a, wasn't for sure if it was a public domain copy or not. It looked really good. It has the Timeless Media Group, so I've seen them team up with some other companies and stuff. So it was a pretty good. It was a pretty good print. I just didn't realize that it was Warner Brothers. Why wasn't it on an MGM label or whatnot? But still, really decent copy. This is a really cool, basically a California Gold Rush movie during the 1850s. Let's see, Joel McCrea, basically he strikes it rich and everything, and he comes to this town. He ends up being, what is it? He ends up helping the newspaper editor clean up the city that a crooked politician, got everybody under their thumb and crookedness going on and stuff. So, battling everything. So, really good movie, pretty interesting. Movies with Yvonne DiCarlo, always good. She's always so beautiful. She did so many movies, other than her being on the Munsters, and I've seen her in a couple of movies with Joel McCrea this summer and everything, and she's really pretty good. Next up is a very good movie. This is from a Kino release, a DVD, The Gunfight at Dodge City. This is a really good movie. He plays the gunslinger Bat Masterson. So it's kind of a, I think it shows Bat Masterson in his early days before the OK Corral. Basically, shows him as I think he started out like a skinner. He's trying to settle the score about his brother, and basically the story of Bat Masterson and his brothers and stuff, and it's really pretty good. It stars the always great Julie Adams is in this. John McIntyre, he's always really good as a bad guy. Nancy Gates, Directed by Joseph Newman, really good. It's from 1959, and it's a CinemaScope widescreen 2:35:1 aspect ratio. So good movie, great looking movie on Kino. And next up, we got another Kino Blu-ray release, this time, Fort Massacre. Now this was an interesting movie. This is where Joel McCrea kind of plays, I think this was the director's, and Joseph Newman's back for this one, and I think he was kind of going into what was sort of becoming popular at the time. Not popular, but they were becoming more, there was a lot more of these, more adult themed, darker edged, the movies of Anthony Mann and stuff like that. At the time, the darker edge, more adult ones. He plays kind of a twisted. His family has been killed, his wife and kids. He has nothing to go back home to. They basically, him and his small platoon of soldiers are all ragged and stuff. They've been getting beat by the Apaches, and they basically hole up in some Apache housing there, and kind of just basically hiding because they're beat. Like one guy's wounded, but what makes this movie really good, that you really should get this one, is just Joel McCrea's he's really playing the part good. He's kind of twisted at times. He's trying to do the right thing, but then he's twisted. And stars Forrest Tucker, also John Russell, Susan Cabot. So yeah, a pretty good movie. Fort Massacre. Next up, I got a great movie from Andre Dutoff. This is an Arrow Academy release, Blu-ray, Ramrod, and also stars the very beautiful Veronica Lake, who he co-starred with. Oh man, I'm trying to think of that movie. What movie was it that he did some movies with Preston Sturges in the 40s. He did the Palm Beach Story with Claudette Colbert. What was that movie? Sullivan's Travels. That's it. Sullivan's Travels with Veronica Lake. Preston Sturges classic, comedy classic. Well, anyways, they team up. When was this made? Let's say 46 or 47. Andre Dutoff. Always have. I don't know if I'm saying his name right half the time. But anyways, Veronica Lake and Andre were married at the time. So she was like famously, there's been some stories where she was just basically, I'll get my way on set because my husband's directing it and blah, blah, blah. And it was kind of a change of scenery for her. She kind of styles her hair differently. She's known famously for having the long, half-covered hair, blonde, and she plays it different in this movie. It's got a lot of cool people in here. Besides Joel McCrea, got Charlie Ruggles, Preston Foster, and this movie is. It's been said it's been influenced by Tarantino and Scorsese. So it's a really interesting movie. I've seen it twice. I'm gonna watch it again. It seems like a movie that you keep seeing different build up of these characters, and like her splitting, going different ways for different people, being stuck in this town. Basically, her dad's like one of the big cattle barons in town, and she's trying to go off on her own. She doesn't want to marry into another family that has land and animals and stuff like her father wants her to do. She wants to marry who she wants to marry. the guy that doesn't have all that, and father doesn't like. So it kind of shows after she doesn't make her dad happy. It basically sparks off a small civil war between the families and some of the cowboys in the town, and it's really good. It's really good. This disc looks good, and it's got a pretty good commentary, and then it's got a Andre Tatoff interview at the National Film Theater in 1994, and it's got actually a documentary. It's got a small documentary on here. It's really good. It goes into his some of his films and stuff. Really good. Highly recommend that movie. And now the movie that kind of sparked it off and appears every year in my little thing is Ride the High Country, Sam Peckinpah's 1962 classic movie. I've seen this movie so many times. It's so good. Essentially, came across this as a Peckinpah fan about 20 years ago, and had it taped off television, and I would watch that. And I think I dubbed it to disc and watched it, and then would see it a bunch of times on TCM, and then bought the DVD. And I've had this DVD for a long time. I think I have a Blu-ray of it somewhere, but great movie. This is Randolph Scott's last movie. Joel McCrea wouldn't be too far behind him. He started slowing down after this movie, not making as many movies as he had been. But they were old buddies that were basically just not bandits, but they were just like outlaws, and they're older now. They've settled down. They went different ways, and they come across each other one day in this town, and there's an offer to do one last thing, escort some money back off this mountain, and they end up teaming up with a Mary, what was her name? Mariette Hartley. They team up with her, get in some business with some guys that want to marry her and stuff. They have all these issues there and stuff, and I won't give it away, but there comes a moment where it really says a lot about a person's life when they get older. Just about what they believe in and what they want to be remembered for and stuff like that. And it's such a movie I can't really put into words that will sell it to you. All I can say is I recommend this movie. Check it out. If you have not seen this already, see it. It's essential. It's an essential Western. It may turn you on to go check out Randolph Scott. You may go check out Peckinpah or Joel McCrea. So it has a lot. If you've never heard of this movie at all or these people, then I think it may influence you to check their careers out, because it has a lot of good people involved in it. Next up is a 4-movie set, Joel McCrea Westerns collection from the TCM. This was the TCM Vault collection, and it has 4 movies: The Virginian, Cattle Drive, Border River, and Mustang Country. Mustang Country would end up being Joel McCrea's last movie in 1976. And Cattle Drive was made in 1951, the Virginia 46, Border River 54, and 76's Mustang Country. Really nice set. Pretty basic, just these were all individually released in their own set with their own artwork and everything. Now this is just a collection of those 4 movies, and it's basically the economy pack to get them all. Really good movie. The movies I really liked Actually, the surprise one I really liked on here was Cattle Drive, where Joel McCrea teaches a young Dean Stockwell a thing or two about being a good person, being a man, basically that having some dignity, some values, and some respect, and really good. I wasn't expecting that, and it was such a good movie, a beautifully shot Technicolor movie. It's got some a lot of nice horse action, some beautiful horses in it. Um, these were all made for Universal releases. The Virginian being the oldest one in this set here. I'm trying to think if his wife, yeah, his real life wife, in real life, Joel McCrea's Faye Banton here, appears in this. Is it Faye Banton? Wait a minute. But anyways, this is a good set. Let me think for a second. I get these things all mixed up. No, Frances D. Frances D was his real life. Now he made a few movies with her in their early days together, late to mid 30s, late 30s, which leads me up to this movie in 1949, Four Faces West. Now this is a great movie. This is another movie where Joel McCrea kind of did kind of an outlaw thing. He's won it. They're tracking him down. There's a great escape, and he gets on this train, and he ends up meeting Frances D, who's his real life wife, which is really cool to see their interaction together, and they start discovering each other, and they really hit it off. As you can tell, they have that natural chemistry together because they're wife and husband. So really good movie, really great, really impressed with it. Charles Bickford's in it, William Conrad, and directed by Alfred Green. I really like this. Came out in 1949. Paramount released it. It's a really nice black and white movie. Really recommend it. So yeah, it's one of the best ones out of here in this. Out of these, let me see something here. Oh, this one came with a little booklet of other releases. Next up was a movie that I wasn't that impressed with it. It's Black Horse Canyon. Now this is a European release. This is a release from the UK. It stars Mari Blanchard and Mervyn Vive. It's basically a story about a wild black horse that they're trying to capture in this movie, and it's like it belongs to this person, and it belongs to this person, and they're kind of trying to lasso and trying to capture this horse. He's a wild stallion, and they're trying to get him, and if they don't capture him, then this other guy's going to get him. And of course, he falls in love with the girl, and and everything. And I don't know, it was a whole lot of horse movie for me. It's like, I love horses, they're beautiful. I have the highest respect for horses and amazed, beautiful creatures. But it was just, I don't know, it was more a horse movie. It wasn't so much, I wanted to see a Western, adventure of some sort, some kind of gunplay. It was more of I don't know. I can't really explain it. It was a good movie. I'm not totally crapping on it, but it just wasn't what I expected. If you love horses now, it has a lot of horses in it. So that's all I'm gonna say. But I'm not gonna crap on it. I'm not gonna crap on it, but All right, anyways, next up is Buffalo Bill from 20th Century Fox. Co-stars Maureen O'Hara. Edgar Buchanan, who's always great. I love Edgar Buchanan. Thomas Mitchell, one of my favorite, just favorite stock player, just character actor. He just great character actor, Thomas Mitchell. Edgar Buchanan too, pretty much. And it has an Anthony Quinn in it. It was directed by William Wellman, and it was a kind of an odd movie. I had been into William Wellman for years, and I guess I just skipped over this movie somehow. But it's a really really pretty. I want to say color. Yeah, it's a color movie. Basically, it's a kind of like the first Texan. It is just a straight up biopic. I mean, it doesn't try to be anything more or anything less. It's just like, this is about Buffalo Bill for 90 minutes, and that's it. That's kind of what I thought about it. It wasn't like trying to go deeper into his psyche or show who he was 20 years before this or anything. You know what I mean? It was just, this is Buffalo Bill now. He's famous, and they have some impending drama going on, and that's about it. It has some great character actors. I can't think of the girl who played a young Indian squaw. Maureen O'Hara, which I know don't nail me down, but I don't always like her in movies for some reason. She's famous for The Quiet Man and stuff. I guess she just always does the same role as a feisty redhead or something. I don't know. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I think I talked about it in another video, but she's in it. Pretty good movie. To me, it's just standard fare. I mean, Joel McCrea plays Buffalo Bill, and he's in his makeup, and he looks really good as Buffalo Bill. But it's just pretty standard. I mean, I only watched it once, so maybe I need to watch it again, and maybe I'll see it differently. But it was just just a basic Hollywood 40s biopic to me. Next up is a pretty good movie, or a good movie from a writer based on a book by the good writer, Western writer Louis L'Amour, and that's The Stranger on Horseback. And this is a kind of an odd release. Came out from VCI Entertainment, which is also, Kit Parker Films, and something else. It's just, I don't know, the cover's kind of weird to me. But it's got a lot of cool people in it. Kevin McCarthy plays kind of a dick. He's just kind of a dick. It's got the always great John McIntyre, Nancy Gate, always great John Carradine is in it. It's directed by the legendary director Jacques Tourneur, who made a lot of the great horror movies for Val Lewton at RKO, and the great Dana Andrews picture, what was it, the Mark of the Beast, not Mark of the Beast, hang on. Oh gosh, what is the name of it? I got it. Night of the Demon. It's right over here on the shelf. Night of the Demon. Jacques Tourneur directed it. And this movie's pretty good. I say pretty good a lot, but what I mean is it's good. It's a good story. It was kind of different. The girl that stars in this, her name is Miroslava. It was kind of one of those names, like one name. She was this famous Mexican actress, and she actually died just right after this got released, just the week it was released or something like that, and she passed away. I forgot why, how. I think she got sick, I'm not sure, but it was just kind of tragic. And she's really good. She's very captivating. I haven't seen anything else with her in it before, and she seems pretty captivating. I mean, Joel McCrea plays pretty straight. He's Joel McCrea. He kind of walks in. He doing my thing. There's some cool scenes with him where he's just like, I don't give a give a crap. You know, he walks in and he's like, you know, he plays an investigator, kind of like a, I want to say not like FBI or Marshal. Let me see. Oh, he plays a circuit judge. So he's there's a scene where he's trying to gather some evidence from a gun, trying to track down the gun. He goes to the local blacksmith, gun maker person, and trying to and he's just like, you know, he's just like, they're trying to come down on him and intimidate him, and he's not having it. So it's a pretty good movie. I would definitely watch it again. Pretty cool. I've always heard of Louis L'Amour stories. I'm not really familiar with a lot of them. I know a lot of his stories were made in the 80s with like Sam Elliott and stuff, but I haven't really seen a lot of his stories. But pretty cool movie. Next up, Warner Archive Collection, The Oklahoman. This is a story directed by Francis Lyon. It's filmed at CinemaScope. It came out in '57 for Allied Artists again. Co-stars Barbara Hale and Brad Dexter, Gloria Talbot, Michael Pate. Pretty good movie. I'm trying to think. He plays a doctor. He plays a physician. I have to look on here because I'm trying to think. I think I've watched this and I don't remember it. Watching all these westerns with him in it, some of them kind of blend a little bit, slightly. So I just want to... Yeah, basically he's it's kind of fighting against kind of racism, where he cares for an Indian and stuff, and people are like, you know, why are you doing this? You know, he's a wild savage, you know, and it has a real human story to it. You know, he's not known as a fighting man. He's kind of known just as a man of peace and science, and he's a doctor, and he lives simply and everything. So, but I think he's pushed to his limit in this movie, and pretty good movie. It's kind of an odd movie, Joel McCrea movie. It's not a movie like I've ever really heard of in researching Western movies over the years. It doesn't pop out in a lot of lists and stuff. So, but yeah, definitely would watch that again. We're coming up to the end of this, and I've saved 3 of the very best Joel McCreas. You may disagree, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and show the best one. The very best one, I think, I really like this movie. It's probably next to Ride the High Country is my favorite Joel McCrea movie, and that's Wichita. Now, this was released through the Warner Archive Collection, directed by Jacques Tourneur again, for Allied Artists. It has Edgar Buchanan returns, Peter Graves, Lloyd Bridges is really good in this, Wallace Ford, and Vera Miles, young Vera Miles. It's a color production, CinemaScope, Technicolor. Great movie. Just slam bam, it moves fast. It just has a lot of just Lloyd Bridges is so good in this movie. I've seen him in maybe a handful of westerns during the 50s, and he always kind of plays kind of a meh, but he's really good in this movie. Basically he's playing the role of Wyatt Earp in this, and he's coming to, let me see here. This is basically he's Wyatt Earp before Tombstone and all that stuff. This is so it basically shows him coming into this rowdy cow town, cleaning it up, everything. The town had a slogan, "Everything goes on in Wichita." So when he comes to town, he cleans it up, and everybody doesn't like it, and everything. So it has. What also says here, it has. What does it say here? Oh yeah, it takes place just before Dodge City. So that other movie from Kino, Gunfight at Dodge. This kind of takes place before then. So there's Wichita, Dodge City, da da da. So really good movie. Jacques Tourneur plays this one up great. The other movie's kind of directing kind of low key, kind of moves at a low pace, you know, and good movie, lets the actors act. This one is just bam, 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 good, just storytelling in your face. Really loved this movie. Definitely going to watch this again really soon. I really liked it. I mean, you know, but I try not to play favorites, but you know, really good movie. Wichita. Next up, The Tall Stranger. Joel McCrea, Virginia Mayo makes an appearance on this. This is also from 1957, and this is a kind of a public domain copy I had here. Unfortunately, it was panned and scanned. It wasn't letterboxed, so some stuff was cut off. But it was a pretty good movie. It really was. Just showing some, you know, he's trying to. His half brother, Joe McCrea's half brother, is not wanting these people to be on his land, and once they get here, and his other guys are playing these people, and it's all this stuff going on, and it builds, and it starts halfway through it. You're thinking, man, all this stuff's going on. Then all of a sudden, it just kind of smooths itself out, and it's like, oh, all right. So I wouldn't say this is one of my very best favorite ones, but it's really good. It was one of the last ones I watched. And finally, guys, the last movie in the Joel McCrea Summer 2020 Western-a-thon. Joel McCrea, you have the crappiest year this year. Last movie, Colorado Territory. Another really good movie. This one also stars Virginia Mayo and Dorothy Malone. Directed by the great Raoul Walsh. This was for Warner Brothers, and this is another great movie. I'm trying to think of who else was in this, but he plays Wes McQueen. It basically starts out with a jailbreak out, which is awesome, which is so cool. It's basically a retelling of High Sierra, which was made in 1941 with Humphrey Bogart in it. This is basically a Western retelling of the same story by the same director. So, but anyways, I didn't really, just certain points kind of matched up with the High Sierra, but you know, what is this? I got High Sierra right here. But I thought it stood on its own. I wasn't like a, you know, here's High Sierra, which was made in 41 with Ida Lupino. And this one, Virginia Mayo plays her role. And really good movie. Really liked this one. And Wichita just really... I didn't have them before. I had them copied. I copied them off TV, and I would watch them from time to time. But I had to track these down because I wanted a good copy. And I'm so impressed with these. These have aged well, and they play well. Whew, I'm out of breath. I need a drink. But so anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you have any comments... I know I get things kind of confused and I forget stuff sometimes, but if you got any comments, let me know. Anything you want to point out, something I missed. If there's a Joel McCrea movie, a Western that I've missed that I should see, let me know that wasn't here, and I'll definitely try to find it and check it out. If you haven't already subscribe and hit the bell, the notification bell, so that you will be notified when I make a new episode in the future. And like I said, comment. And if you liked it, give me a big thumbs up. And just try to tune in again. I'll have some great episodes coming. And I really appreciate you watching. And I'm going to try to do these summer Western things more often. I'm kind of thinking of some people I can do next year that I already have a good amount of movies from too. But yeah, really loving the westerns. They've aged well. As I've gotten older, I've really loving the westerns a lot more. I've always been a western fan, but they just, I don't know, really enjoying some of the underrated ones and some of the ones I've missed over the years. So anyways, there you go, guys. That was 2020 summer Western-a-thon uh, of the summer, Joel McCrea. And check out his movies. Check out a few of those. They're definite ones you will like. And I'll see you next time, guys.